Are you guys going to now slip over to that trailer for the Game of Thrones show? Was this part of your plan here?
It wasn't part of my plan, but I can do it because I haven't even watched it actually.
I really enjoyed it.
Do you want to see it?
I mean, if they're doing what I think they're doing, I think it's going to be quite novel and fun.
That is my impression because I did read those books as well, and that is kind of what they are. They are novel for George R. R. Martin, and they are fun, and they do obviously it helps if you know a lot of the context and the world building stuff, but they are self-contained stories, and they're not massively cynical, blood-curdling kind of high politics stuff. They are actually quite charming. Didn't know George R. R. Martin was capable of that, but he is.
It felt like I don't know if you know the series Paladin.
No,
it's a very Paladin kind of thing where they just go from town to town, and it's the two characters. It's a buddy show.
Yeah, Wolf and Cub kind of setup.
Mandalorian and Grogu to use the modern kids. But I don't know. I was kind of underwhelmed until they got to the tourney, but then everyone just started saying a Knight's Tale in the chat.
What I can do is, I can bring it up here, and then you guys can take a look.
Isn't HBO nasty about copyright?
Yeah. I mean, we can do it in like.
No, don't bother. It's okay. I just found it intriguingly lighthearted.
The thing is, like, they probably nailed me already for the Netflix thing. When I did
a penny in for a pound.
Sure,
yeah. Oh, you're trying to drag them down.
No, we played this earlier.
The Squires just around.
What's that?
We played this on another stream. It didn't get hit, so you should be all right.
Oh, okay. I'll bring it a little bit.
Enough penny tree since I was a boy.
Why are we keeping doing this? These prequels to Game of Thrones. Like, we've got already House of the Dragon, and now we've got this.
Well, they're still pretty popular. I mean, it's kind of almost the convenience of him never having finished the mainline entries is that no one can say that they're all shit. So there's still the potential, and so there's still interest in the world he's built. And to be fair, the world he's built is vast and detailed. There are a lot of stories you can tell in it. It's a wonderful sandbox to play in. House of the Dragon played well in season 1, not so much in season 2.
There's a lot of interest in this, but I'm going to be very interested in Robert's Rebellion if they ever make that into a TV show, and it's like reason to believe it'll be good because that'll be but that's another prequel.
It's just it's all giving George an excuse to not do his books, though.
It is. It's procrastination writing, is what it is, and some really good stuff can come out of procrastination writing. If you're writing something to avoid the thing you really don't want to do, you can be very creative. And these stories there's a lot of that in these stories. These stories are really charming. I quite like because I started a few months ago just going through all of his stuff in chronological order in the vague hope he might have written a sentence by the time I finished all of it of the next book. I don't think he has. But these probably are some of my favorite ones. They're not very serious or anything like that, but just by being charming and relatively low stakes, but making good use of all the stuff he's built around them and the lore and everything. They're nice reads. I'd recommend them.
They charged me to be a good knight, to defend the weak and the innocent, and I swore that I would.
Just pausing for reasons.
Yep.
Are you Baelor Targaryen?
No.
Then would you move the fuck out of the way?
Sorry.
I mean, that's your lighthearted humor there. Okay, I can get behind that. It would be kind of like Platoon, like having read the books as you were saying there, rather than like the extremely grim, dark, serious Game of Thrones mainline entries. These are more like lighthearted adventure stories.
Yeah, they're almost what you'd consider sort of classic fantasy writing. There's a romance to them. That your main character isn't some big lord. He's not a politician. He's not scheming. He's Sir Duncan the Tall, who is just a hedge knight at the beginning. Obviously, I'm not going to go into spoilers or anything, but you'll know some of the names if you've paid attention to the background details of the Game of Thrones stuff. Like you'll have picked up on his name also being one of the Kingsguard, for example. Like Egg is the little kid, and you can piece those pieces together once you rewatch Game of Thrones or reread Game of Thrones. So like it all like ties into the grander narrative of Westeros, but it's a very self-contained, quite short stories, and I believe they are completed. yeah, it's low stakes adventure stuff. It's quite nice.
That would kind of be a nice, refreshing change in the world of like Game of Thrones.
Just go
like,
back to basic formula and
Yeah,
not some crazy, convoluted, overarching story. Not like the world is ending. Just like
also his casting. It's a big, tall, white dude. That's a rarity these days.
But that's the character. The character is he's overly tall.
Snape is Paladin sallow. You know what I'm saying? That what the character description doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see what the makeup of the show actually is.
Oh, they'll pay the tax for sure.
Sir Duncan the Tall.
Never heard of him.
Do you know every knight in the Seven Kingdoms then?
The good ones. If you could bring me to Ashford, I could swipe you, sir.
Rob me, and I'll hunt you down with dogs.
You don't have dogs!
It's so weird contrasting this with House of the Dragon.
yeah.
Just, our other big, obviously, series that's going on at the moment, that is like so fucking heavy and serious. This is just like, hey, let's have a little bit of fun.
The other side to the world. I mean, there's blood and bits and pieces of gore in it and stuff, obviously, because there's action sequences and the combat's still described fairly realistically, but it's not the major point of it. You're not supposed to read these and sort of work out the cynical machinations of the world. The Targaryens are there in the backdrop, and the world is still moving sort of in the background of the story it's telling, but you're kind of ancillary to all of that.
Is this like a Make-A-Wish kid or something like this in this?
No, there's a big twist involving the kid's identity, so I can't say who he is. But
It's Spoon Boy from The Matrix.
Yeah, people were saying that, chat.
I'll get some.
Where?
And the actor's great playing the kid.
Boys, stop gaping. Sleep on my horse.
I'm not a stable boy, my lord.
Not clever enough.
I know I'm...
Dragons there?
Fake
Interesting.
dragon, I think.
well, that's it's a puppet show.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. It's because it's in the background.
It's not.
See it very well.
Sometimes I think there could be more.
No, okay, sure. Fine.
Why do you treat these royal lapdogs like they're your betters?
They are my betters.
These men have a name.
I mean, it doesn't feel like they've scrimped on the budget either. I mean, it's decent,
No, and it doesn't look digital like The Witcher does.
Yeah.
Right. I believe these guys are deadly and it's all serious, and the verisimilitude, to borrow a phrase, is all there.
Yeah.
Very consistent.
Witcher always looks like a soundstage.
Yes, and it's just a bit too crisp, and you can see the guys in the background pumping the smoke in. Okay, action.
I think maybe, like, for me, this would be a really good palate cleanser for the world of Game of Thrones, because, as much as I respect the work that's gone into House of the Dragon and like the sophistication of the characters and the maturity of the plot and everything, fuck me, it gets a bit grim and dark and like serious and self-important at times. Like, it's not exactly a rollicking thrill ride. And maybe I just need something like this to just remind me, like fantasy can also be kind of fun at times.
Yeah,
and
like
it can be an adventure.
Xena Warrior Princess.
And it's a profit of the work you've done as well. Because I mean, I completely understand and broadly agree with people who will never forgive George R.R. Martin if he doesn't finish the mainline stories, because that is what people got invested in to begin with. But like, there is still an awful lot to profit off of from the work that he has done. You can find different eras in the history that he's built and tell these self-contained stories in them. So like, you can have a start, beginning, and an end, which is not the start, the beginning, and the end of the main story, but it still provides you a fairly satisfying thing. And you wouldn't have got it without all the work that he'd done sort of building up to the mainline saga entries. But at some point it would be nice for him to finish those. But this is going to be more fun and shorter, I think.
He's never going to finish those.
No.
I'm trading. What chance do I have?
Oh, you have no chance.
Falling star brings luck to those who see it.
That actor was talking to in that moment there was the brother in the Gentleman TV show, if you remember.
Oh, really? Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is I was happy about that because I was like, yeah, I'll see a bit more stuff. He was pretty fun.
He seemed like he's going to be the Tyrion character, like the drunken, fun one. In this
Don't
series,
just act like the chicken. Be the chicken.
Chahan! So the luck is ours alone?
It's a nice line. That's a really nice line.
Yeah. Bit more serious stuff going on here.
I need to fight honorably. But sometimes I think I buried my courage alongside the old man.
It's so weird watching this, and I'm more enthused by this than I am by like House of the Dragon. It's weird.
Platoon, that's not Robert Baratheon, obviously, because he's not born yet, but that's like the family armor with the...
So be brave.
I didn't spot that. It might be.
That'll be the violence that you talked about there.
Yeah. It's because it's not spotting anything else. It's in the trade, so that there's a big tourney kind of event in the first book, which is because one of the other things is, from what I know, I've apparently been corrected in chat as well. There are apparently 2 more books planned, as ever with George R. R. Martin. There's always 2 more books, so it's not quite finished. But the stories do work as self-contained things, but there aren't that many sort of really, really big set piece events which you'd normally expect for like a season finale. In the way that House of the Dragon builds up to a massive war, for example, and all the political stuff sort of coalesces into that. There's not really much of a parallel in this. There's a big tourney, which is the thing you're seeing here, which is a very, very important event in what happens. But I'm kind of interested to see how they sustain it and whether the audience sticks with it with the lack of that, because it is a small scale story. There's a mystery subplot and stuff like that. It does all build toward things, but it's not anything like the same scale as the other shows that we're used to.
Gary said that's Lionel Baratheon.
And I think as well, like I would appreciate that smaller scale and just like being able to get this this sense of like this core group of characters rather than feeling like there's world changing events that have to be happening all the time. Around everything. It's fine. I'm okay with that.
To memorize 10 different factions.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, worth it if it's good, but this looks smaller scale, a little more chill, happy, and I don't know, well made.
Gary said he's looking forward to it.
Look at that. That is so well.
Yeah, I like that. You know,
the music has got a real light touch to it.
Yeah. You know what? That makes me quite happy, actually.
It's the one I'm looking forward to probably most. Like, I mean, House of the Dragon Season 3 is slightly filling me with a bit of dread at the moment. But this one kind of isn't. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on and to look forward to. It is nice to have occasionally just stories which drop the cynicism from very interesting worlds. Cynicism is usually essential to keep any massive politically convoluted plot going, obviously, but he's built a whole world. He's making use of the rest of it. Nice to see. Nice character relationships, relatively small cast from what I remember. And the other nice thing about it as well, you can basically guarantee with all of these shows that are spin-offs from George R. R. Martin stuff is that you can put a photo of a scene from this next to those 4 other fantasy shows later. And you can tell exactly which one is the Game of Thrones spin-off because they all have this high production fidelity. It's great.
Yeah. And I think when you're referencing the cynicism that's necessary to make the world of Game of Thrones function, I think that's maybe the thing that I've become burned out on with his work, partly because, as we saw with the actual Game of Thrones show, the payoff to it was so deeply unsatisfying that I wish he'd never done it. And we don't know where House of the Dragon's ultimately going to finish, so we can't assess it yet. But that same cynicism and that same everyone's morally gray, there's no real heroes, everyone's just various degrees of shittiness towards each other. It becomes like psychologically wearing after a while, to the point where I don't even necessarily want to watch it. It's like I respect it on an intellectual level. It's like, well, okay, yeah, there's definitely like interesting things going on here in terms of the writing, performances, all that stuff. But I'm not invested in the characters because none of them are good people, and like I'm just not like rooting for any of them, really.
Well, the key detail is the Paragons get killed in shocking ways, and you're like, oh. Like, I was rooting for that guy, and he's out. Well, at least there's his son. Oh, he's dead, too.
Well, George described this himself, where he just straight up went through the list of characters. It's like, well, everyone assumed that Ned Stark would be the hero that would rise and, like, put things right. So I killed him off immediately, and then, wow, what's next? Robb, his son. He's the most heroic of the children, so I killed him. And I just thought, is that it? Is that literally the extent of your fucking thought process on this? Is like take the most heroic character and just kill them?
I mean, you can give, I'm not a huge fan of just shitting on him exclusively.
No.
Like, there's a lot of meaning to be drawn out of the journeys for Ned and Rob. And then, of course, like, what was so disappointing is Jon was the successor to those roles. It was like, here we go. This is our guy. He's going to. I remember this all kicked in with when he bent the knee to fucking Daenerys. It was like, oh, because he like stops being a character and instead starts being her, basically.
And the other characters around him as well, who you would say still have the right motives, even if they're sometimes willing to do dark and cynical things. The Varys and Tyrion in particular are both like assassinated very, very quickly by the end of the TV show in Game of Thrones. Like all the good, so there is still sort of hope up until the point at which really I think Varys and Tyrion go that way. And obviously Jon being like so prominent up until the exact moment at which he isn't. The show loses any prospect of a satisfying conclusion because it did have some good characters. It did have some morally good characters, that is, and it ruined them.
And that's a shocking kill count for Daenerys, which it didn't make it easier to like her. That she was like a black hole. That Tyrion, Varys, and Jon all lost their best traits by being near her. It was like, oh
yes. That's the power of the simp, I suppose.
I truly think he's trapped. He saw the reaction and people fucking hating what happened, and that's his ending, and he has no way to get there, and so he'll just keep doing everything else but finishing the stories.
I think so, yeah.
Like it all ends with Daenerys doing what she did,
and Arya using her special knifing skills.
Don't bring up the fucking Battle of Winterfell again.
That was so. The neutering of Jon was
because the thing is, like, Arya was a great character in her prime, and I really liked the arc she went through. But then they just made her the fucking unstoppable girl boss who kills everything, and I was like, "Oh, fuck off!"
She was clearly favored by George. Even in the books, it gets a little out of hand. She starts achieving way too fucking much. It made more sense, I think, thematically for Theon to take out the Night King than fucking Arya.
Yes,
I thought they set up Jon. I do like that one scene where Sansa's watching Arya fight and like realize how much skill she's gotten since she left. But Jon should have been the.
Of course, he should have been there. Too obvious, though. That's what I said. Too obvious,
right? Bro, even if he had fought that dragon somehow, like stupidly, I
yelled at the ice dragon. That was the best.
No. But when you're dealing with a saga like that, and you've taken the audience along. You want to give them what they have been expecting so they can cheer for it. Sure, do it in an interesting way, but Jon should have been the hero of this whole saga. I'm sorry. But I'm a traditionalist.
You don't even make that argument. They set it all up. It's all there. And then they were like, nah, fuck it.
Yeah. Well, I think I cannot remember the author's name, but it was like another like fantasy author who made a very lengthy Twitter post about like the sort of philosophical underpinnings of George's idea of Game of Thrones, and like his whole basis was basically George wanted to undermine just the very like stereotypical tropes of the fantasy genre. So like, the stereotypical hero who's going to rise up and like save everyone. No, that's like too obvious. Like we're going to kill him off because heroes in the real world don't have the ruthlessness, the wherewithal to survive in a politically complex world. But what he was suggesting is that eventually there will come an existential threat in the form of the White Walkers in this case, that will require some kind of heroes to rise up eventually beyond this like political infighting and stuff to actually take on this bigger threat to the entire world, like solidifying that message that we don't necessarily need the simplistic predictable heroes that you see in the normal fantasy genre, but some kind of heroic character eventually has to come up to fill that void.
Absolutely.
And
I picked Little Platoon to be the hero.
Well, yeah, but it was that elevation from low fantasy, which is very gritty, very dark, very violent. Eventually, it will transition into high fantasy right at the end to give you that satisfying emotional beat. But he can't fucking bring himself to do it now. One, because he's made it way too complicated to try and like tie up all the plot threads in his world. And two, I don't know, I think he's just become a cynical fucking boomer who just can't handle the idea of real heroic people anymore. And I think that's a pretty fair assessment of his mindset as a writer.